What's up guys? Today we're playing Epic 7 and we're gonna one-shot Golem. Now this is a hunt that people typically start doing when they first start playing the game, but they have some really great sets. The sets were buffed, and this will help you complete your hunt missions to get that gear, to go and get your Cermia for free, and to really progress in the game. So let's go ahead and talk about how we're gonna do this. Now, before we start talking about how to one-shot this hunt, let's first talk about what you need to do it in the first place. So, today we're going to be using Adventurer Raz as our knight. This guy is pretty much king of PvE. You can use him in RTA, you can use him in every aspect of the game, and he's just great. Also, you don't have to change his gear or his artifact, so that's a big plus. We're also going to use Tamarin. Now, if you don't have Tamarin, you can use Hazel, and she'll do just fine. In this case, because we are going to whittle down the boss in the next couple of minutes, we need to make sure that we have enough sustain on our team, and that's where she comes into play. If you don't have Hazel or Tamarin, you know what? Drop a Rowana in there, and she'll do fine as well. Now, the next two people are going to be damage dealers. They're going to be used for clearing that first wave, and also for nailing down the boss. Cermia, they gave you for free, so we're going to use her as our base run. Also Mercedes, for free, so we're going to use her as our base run. Now, if you don't have these characters, or just don't want to use them because they remind you of your ex-girlfriend, then you know what? You can drop a soul in here. You can drop in a specialty change, Carmen Rose. She works great as well. I also tried it with Bomb Model, and I tried it with Researcher Carrot.
I need an assistant.
Pretty much any two fire heroes here are going to work.
Yes.
Son of light. Burn!
Call. Unveil your eye of terror. Obey me. Obey me. Can you hold out much longer? Shall we bet on it?
Take this!
Nice.
Yeah!
Obey me. Obey me. You owe me one now. Enough. I'll blow you away. Go away.
Help!
On my way. Aha! Yep.
Purifying flame. Burn away the evil.
Blaze. I'll leave it to you.
I hope you're ready.
Nice. Listen to my song, ladies and gentlemen. Let's shine. Obey me. Obey me. Here. On my way.
Yeah!
So let's talk about what kind of stats you need to make this run happen. First up, we use Cermia as our base run. This is because that smile gate gives it to you for free just for doing this hunt, right? So what do we want out of her? Well, we want to have Daydream Joker. Anytime you're going to try and do a hunt, you want your main damage dealer to be on Daydream Joker, and this will give you big damage. I also like to use her S1 exclusive equipment. And this is because the longer the fight goes, the more likely you are to be using your S1, and also with the dual attacks, will give her a great chance to do that extra bit of damage and make the run faster. As you can see, she's on basically all free gear, right? This is all gear that you get from your side story, and then what you want is it for just to roll attack, crit damage, and you don't really need speed, but it doesn't hurt either. She doesn't have any debuffs, so you don't have to worry about effectiveness. All you have to worry about is achieving some very minimal stats. This boot, oh, these boots are from my noob days. They very easy to get, very easy. You need something 4,000 to 5,000 attack should be just fine. Speed doesn't matter, at least 85% crit chance, and then as much crit damage as you can get. Now in this one, I also use Mercedes. My Mercedes has no molas, and you saw also Cermia is not maxed out, so definitely achievable. Now I did do the episode 3 to get her enhanced artifact, which is going to be very good for her. If you don't have this enhanced artifact, Daydream Joker, or anything that improves her damage, should work just fine. And then you want basic damage build, right? Attack, at least 85 crit, some crit damage, and the rest you can put in speed, and she'll do great. I also used a Researcher Carrot for one of my runs, and this is a basic build for a Researcher Carrot. You want something around 4,000 or more attack, and then I have mine on a Bruiser build with medium speed, and then you want at least 65 effectiveness to be able to land your burns. Now if you want to improve her crit chance, then that would be good too, especially if she's the highest attack on the team, because that's who Ras and Tamarin are going to bring when they dual attack. And speaking of Ras, here he is. Really easy to build. All you need is Aureus, and you can leave this on for pretty much the rest of his life. You want him to be somewhere around 180 or more speed, defense, HP, and then you want to have that 65% effectiveness. I used Bomb Model, and she worked out pretty well. Now, you generally want to run her on Daydream Joker, but I tried it with just this artifact, and it worked. It took a little longer, but it did work, and it was fine too. I like to keep her around about 180 speed, and I'm going to work on reducing her, and then increasing her attack. So moving her to an attack boot will, I think, make her much better. Then, same thing. She doesn't need effectiveness, so you just want 85 crit chance, and then some crit damage. And then lastly, we used Carmen Rose, and I used her on this build. I use her for my expeditions, and she works out really well. General attacker build again, you want some attack, medium speed works for me, 85% crit chance, crit damage, and then at least 65% on your effectiveness. And this is going to be the basis for any one of your Golem teams that you're using just to basically do it in 2 minutes. So now that we've gone into how to beat the Golem hunt on normal in about 2 minutes, let's talk about how to one-shot this Golem so that we can cut our time in half. The first thing is I'm swapping out Cermia, and we're going to put in Soul. Because this character has been around for quite a long time, and he's really good in Golem, that he lowers the requirement on our defense break in order to one-shot this boss. We're also going to bring in our Carmen Rose, and then we're going to bring in Vivian to kill that first wave. Now let's talk about what we expect to see in this run. So on the very first wave, it's going to be similar to a Banshee. We want to do enough damage on the minions that Vivian will be able to destroy everyone with her S2. Now that's going to enable us to save Ras on his second turn to defense break the boss, and it's also going to be to save Soul for his whole turn, so that he'll be able to do all of his moves on the boss when the next phase starts.
All is done. You'll regret facing me. How dare you?
Okay, and we're off to the next one. So, what we expect to see here is a Ras S2. Now what this is going to do is it's going to defense break the boss and enable us to have the one-shot. Now if you remember, our Soul doesn't have any kind of molas. So, if you are adding molas to your characters, then you'll be able to do this much easier. But for this purpose, it works just fine. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and improve this one-shot by taking care of where it falters. So the one problem that we have is that Ras has a 70% chance on his S2 to land that defense break, and that's going to be a big problem. So to combat that, we changed up the gear on our Soul, and then we added in Leo. Now Leo is going to give us that extra defense break in order to make this run pretty much 100%. So let's see how that works. So here we go with our Soul run. Now I did put some molas into Leo so that he has a 100% chance of defense break. It's way overdue, I use them a ton. What we want is for Leo to have 10 or 11 speed, more than Ras at least. That way, he goes first, he's able to do the defense break on the boss run, and then we're able to secure that kill. Now you can make him faster if you want, so he defense breaks before your Vivian. That will give you that extra damage, but I just don't have the speed gear to put into him, just so I can do some hunts. So what we're expecting here is to see a Leo defense break-in. Good. Oh, he went before the Vivian. That was nice. Then we get the dual attack from Soul. Soul is going to S3, and then we're going to see the Golem get melted. Now, Soul doesn't have any molas, so if you put some molas into him, then he's going to one-shot that, no problem. He obviously just did it on that S2, but it could be a little cleaner if you wanted to invest a little bit into your Soul. Now I did want to show you the Soul first because he is a little bit easier to one-shot with. He doesn't need near as much gear in order to do it. We've seen Soul do it on just regular old gear with some pretty high stats, but then we also saw him do it just now on Rage. Now Cermia can definitely one-shot the Golem, but she needs to have a little bit higher quality gear in order to secure the kill, because she doesn't have that second attack, right? Now on occasion, on the dual attack, she has a 25% chance to attack again, and that is enough to kill him, no problem. But let's assume that we don't get that 25% chance to dual attack. She hits once, oh look, there it went. That is pretty funny. And she's gonna go and she's just going to destroy him straight up. Okay. Let's see that one more time. And let's hope that, well, let's see if we get that that second hit off of Cermia. You know, it's really cool. It's a really fun thing to see that S1 go again.
Answer my call.
Because you don't really expect it, right? But she doesn't need it. She doesn't need it to perform this one shot, so we're gonna do it again.
Son of light, burn!
How dare you?
If you really want to invest something in Leo, you know, he's used for Banshee one shot, he's used for the Golem one shot. You might be able to do it. On Banshee, you have to worry about his damage, so you have to put the boss in second phase. On Golem, you don't really have to worry about that, so that's a little bit nicer too. If you wanted to invest in more damage here. Okay, good. There we go. He's got 77,000. left, and Cermia, 77,000. Oh my gosh, he survived with like just a little bit, just like that's so funny. Oh, we're gonna get the kill anyway.
Unleash.
Let's go and put some more damage on Cermia. That was hilarious.
Here.
On my way.
They gave me a Covenant bookmark just because they felt bad about that. So here we go with another run to try and just make up for the last one where the boss embarrassed us with just a sliver of HP left. So I was not able to get any more damage on my Cermia because I just don't have the imprints for her right now. So what I had to do was I increased the amount of attack power on Leo. This will help me to be able to finish off this boss, and also we got a chance to speed tune our heroes. So with Leo going first, now we have that defense break for Vivian to do a little bit more damage, and that releases some of the pressure on Cermia, right? And it helps with her gear so that she doesn't have to basically do all of the work. Another thing that we're looking at is that we need to have Cermia go before the boss. And this is in a very special speed tuning. Because what if Leo doesn't land that defense break? We're going to have to rely on Ras and his defense break to save the run. So this is why we're adding in layer upon layer of safeguards to try and make it the run 100%. And so far, it's worked just fine, right? Now, on occasion, what we'll see too is we'll see that Cermia has her exclusive equipment proc, and then basically none of it matters because she just blasts the boss, and she barely even needs to S3 to finish the match. But let's see how this one goes, and see if we see any difference.
I can do it.
All is done.
This won't be an easy fight.
On my way. Enough. I'll blow you away.
Okay, another clean run. That was very nice.
A warrior never loses.
Destruction.
Answer my call.
Son of light. Burn!
You'll regret facing me. How dare you?
How about this?
All is done.
Take this!
Nice. There is no mercy in a real fight. Raccoon, fly!
Unleash.
My power.
Purifying flame. Burn away the evil.
You'll regret facing me. How dare you?
Here it is.
All is done.
won't be an easy fight.
On my way. Can you hold out much longer? Shall we bet on it?
And it looks like this one is in the bag. We haven't had any problems so far. Everything is going to plan, and it looks like that we got just enough combination of gear and with our speed tuning in order to do this run at pretty much 100%. And one thing you have to keep in mind is that no run is going to be 100%, right? Because we have 15% chance to miss on our defense break. Now with this team, even if the Leo gets resisted on defense break, we have backup with Ras, but there is also a possibility that he'll miss, and then it'll be up to the team to try and finish out the boss. Now this hasn't happened to me yet, but I'm guessing that it will. Now, given the fact that these runs are, what are they, like a minute, less than a minute, that it seems like even if you lose once or twice an hour, it's really not going to make too much difference. It's really not. The run is super stable. Now, having said that, it's much more stable when you have Soul as your main damage dealer. He needs less gear and does more damage, even without any molas, than Cermia does. But if you don't have Soul, or you want to use Cermia on a raid set with other kinds of gear, then this is going to be your perfect opportunity to be able to do that. And I say that this one is in the bag. So let's take a moment and talk about gear in order to make this Golem one-shot happen. I have Adventure Ras, he's on plus 15, and a plus 30 skill tree. Now what you need on Adventure Ras is at least 65% effectiveness in order to land that defense break. Also, you want to make sure that your turn order is good. Now it doesn't really matter how fast he is, as long as you can get all your turns before the first wave has been completed and before the boss. So ideally what we would want is for our Leo to go first, and your next person, which is typically going to be your Vivian, has to be 11 speed less. Okay, then your Ras will go third, then you want Vivian to go fourth and clean up that whole first part of the phase 1 mobs. Then we have Leo that will go first again, then Vivian will go second again, then Ras will go third, and then you'll end up finishing out the boss. So as long as you can match your speed to get that turn order, you don't necessarily have to be 217. You can be closer to 200 and still have enough to accomplish the one-shot. Okay, next up we have our Leo. So I have him at plus 4, and it's just to get the S2 to 100% defense break, right? So this, once you get him to Friendship 10, then you only need to spend 2 molas in order to finish him out, and that's a pretty good investment since you can use him on a Golem, and you can also use him on Banshee. I have him on an artifact that increases my attack for my allies. So this is going to help Ras, even though he's an HP dependent hero. He's also going to help Vivian and Cermia to do enough damage to clear out all of the monsters. Now if you don't have this, that's fine. You can just give him a little bit better gear, give him some more damage stats. As long as you have enough damage between those 3 heroes to clear the first wave, and enough between this hero, well really all your heroes, right, and Cermia to clear the boss, then it doesn't matter really how you get there. You want him to have at least 65% effectiveness to land that defense break, and you want him 11 speed faster than your Vivian. Now with my Vivian, she's super fast, and so I had to really give him some gear. Now you can take your Vivian down to 220, maybe even 210, and then take your Leo down as well to match. As long as he's 11 speed faster and you can get the turn order down, then I think you'll be able to do the one shot just fine. Now speaking of Vivian, here she is. I use her for so much. I can't improve her at all. And so it is what it is, right? Time matter is important. Mine's only at plus 15. If I could get more stacks of time matter, then that would help give her more attack, and then she would do better inside the hunt. But I don't have that, so it is what it is. This is very important because not only does it increase her damage, but it'll increase her damage on the next turn, which will help you to take out those phase 1 mobs, right? You need to have her exclusive equipment with the S2, and that way she gets 50% combat readiness, and she can jump in front of your Cermia or your Baiken or whoever to take that next turn, do S2, and wipe out all of the wave. Now I have her on a plus 15 because I do use her a lot. Even though I'm not a big fan of her character style or skin, she's just so useful everywhere. I probably should have bought her skin because this one just bothers me, but it's whatever. Now what we want here is we need to have enough damage between all your characters to wipe out that first wave, and then also to kill the boss. So if you have really awesome rage gear for your Cermia or your soul, you don't need quite this much stats, right? You don't need effectiveness, you don't need effect resist, so that you can make improvements here. You do need 100% crit chance, or you're going to have a really hard time dealing out consistent damage and finishing the boss. I didn't mention it, but you also need 100% crit chance on your Leo. If the Leo misses that defense break at all and you're relying on that damage, then your run is totally going to fail. But you can run her a little slower as long as your Leo is at least 11 speed faster. And next up we have the Soul Bad Guy. I don't know how they got a picture of me, but this is exactly what I look like when I'm, just sitting around the house, eating ice cream, and killing hunts. Soul Bad Guy, you can see he is on a bruiser build, okay? I did this whole run with HP boots and no molas. The guy is a beast. He's just super cool. If you don't have him, he's a free character that you get during Guilty Gear. Make sure that you get this guy in the future, and he's going to do great things for you. What you want is you want him to be no more than 140 speed. You want good attack, you need 85% crit chance, and then you need crit damage, right? I have him on rage set because this is really good for the one shot. If you remember back to the very first run that we did on our base run, he was on a free set, and I think it was like destruction or something like that. So you can definitely run this guy and beat the Golem in 2 minutes. I'm doing the one shot in about a minute, and that's because of rage set. So you can decide if you really want to beef this guy up and use rage to try and get that run down, but a 2 minute run is still really good. And then we have Cermia. I do have Cermia on plus 15 because I did use her for a long time in Guild War, but she's really just not that useful anymore because everyone is just too fast. You can't pull a 300 speed A-Lots in order to boost her up and then have someone else who is at 270 like another Lots in order to boost her up again. So I usually use her in the hunt, and then I also use her in expeditions. So this is what her build looks like. I want her to be at 140 speed exactly. At 139, the boss does cut every so often. It's not a ton, but he does cut, okay? Just like Soul Bad Guy, you want to be using Daydream Joker. This is going to give you the most damage on the boss. And you only need one of these, so decide kind of who you want to use and put your Daydream Joker on there. I recommend having at least 4 copies. You're going to want 2 if you're in a one shot on your Wyvern. You need 1 for Banshee, and you need 1 for Golem. Now if you want more than that, then of course. But I would say that every player should have 4 copies of Daydream Joker. Now for the Lucky Dice exclusive equipment, try and get a good amount of attack, but I use the S1. The S3 exclusive equipment was really good, when we are using her in Guild War. And for a lot of you, you might still be able to use her in Guild War and then just one-shot guy after guy after guy. For most people, the S1 is going to be the best exclusive equipment for you. This is going to be useful in Expedition. It's going to be useful in this hunt. It's also going to be useful if you play Hall of Trials to do big damage with your Cermia. Now what I want is somewhere pretty close to 5,000 attack, 140 speed, 85% crit rate, and then something close to 300 crit damage. Ideally, I'm going to tell you, I need more stats than this if you're going to use Cermia to try and one-shot this hunt. You need closer, at least 100 more attack, or 20-25 more crit damage. Her gear is pretty good. You can see that I could probably get something with attack here on her weapon, but otherwise, I mean, there's not a ton of room for improvement. I can try and get some more crit damage here on the chest plate. Yeah, maybe I stack flat attack here instead of effectiveness. You know, I had to use this on someone else before. A lot of the gear that I have tends to run crit damage, effectiveness. I don't know why. This is just the gear that they keep giving me. See this effectiveness again. You know, maybe that you can make small improvements here. It's pretty difficult. It was super fun. I love the challenge. That you can get some really good drops, and I know that you guys are going to have fun with this challenge as well. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck on all your hunts, and get those rewards.